Hello and good morning, and a very warm welcome to those of you that are watching us on our regular catch-up of our Plymouth Food Aid Network meetings. This is one for October, just in case you lost your dates and you're watching a little bit later on. So a few of us in the room, we've just been having a little chat offline, so to speak, and we just wanted to record some regular updates for you to just make sure that you're up to date with everything that's been happening. So a couple of things from me, and then I'll hand over to Ian, who will give you his updates and information. So tomorrow, Friday, I've got the pleasure of being joined by a lovely lady called Jackie, who's from ADODL. So she is the person that's responsible for creating the Plymouth Food Aid Network map that you're all familiar with, and majority of you have got your organisations on. So we've been working very closely with Jackie after listening to feedback from some of you and looking at how we can really improve the map to give your customers the best service that they need. But we don't speak to your customers, you do. So what we really need from you is, if you could take 5 minutes out, could you have a look at the map? Could you have a look at your own entry and just see what you feel would benefit? Anything, any improvements, any changes? I've had a few come in from a couple of organisations, and we are going to be going out and meeting a few organisations tomorrow and some of the providers, and trying to speak to some of their service users too. But this is your map. You're the ones that need it, and it benefits you as much as possible. So how can we help? As this is a fantastic opportunity. We did think about creating an app, but that actually becomes a bit more technical, and ADODL is linked nationwide. So what that means is that we can link into services that are happening, in other areas, not just our city as well. But it means that we'll be able to link in with like the warm spaces and provide links to that too. We've already got defibrillators and the locations of those, but we're looking at, so when the end user comes to it, that they can very easily work out where their nearest food aids provider is, what it is they do, their opening hours, who they serve, how to get there, and how long it's going to take them to get there. So there's a lot of work that's going to be going on in the background, but we'd really love your feedback. So if you could just let us know by email, or drop me a message via the WhatsApp group, and I can give you a ring and have a chat. Anything, we really welcome that. But the main thing is to make it very user friendly for everybody. The other thing is, some of you have, as you know, I put out on the WhatsApp group that we've had some more slow cooker recipe books. If any of you would like that, please just drop me a message and we'll get those over to you. And this week I had the pleasure of working with Dave Lee from Public Health, and we did an online food safety training video. So that will be shared out. The link to that will be shared out in the email following this, with this recording. So there's also the slides that attach, that accompany that one, they're attached too. So you can share that with your volunteers, your staff, your teams. And that's the same training that we did when we all met at Four Greens, and we did it in person. But it's much quicker because there's nobody talking through it apart from him. So it's about an hour and a half. Really easy, really clear, but there's loads of different links on there that you can get those directly from the slides. So information that you can get with folders, all the lists that you need, the guidance that you need, and he's tailored it very much for all sizes of organisations. So if you want to catch up with that, please do. There's also a reminder on there that the Lottery Community Fund is still open until the 16th. So if you haven't had a chance to apply for funding, please do. And I think from me, that's my update. Ian, could I hand over to you, please?
Okay, yes, so thank you. So no, it's very good. So firstly, a big thank you to everyone who input into the Food Plymouth 3-year action plan, which Sophie Patterson was communicating with us all about. So that is now live online, and we'll include the link in the follow-up to this, but it's the www.foodplymouth.org, and then just put in action plan. You can access it through our website. So it's really an update, really, that as Mark Rolls spoke to you a fortnight ago, didn't he? Spoke with us a fortnight ago. And it's an update really that rhymes into that, really. So we are very much working towards the alliance model that we've been working to for about 18 months now, trying to move across to. That is really starting to gather momentum now. But it's this whole thing about the cash first approach, the building quality into everything that is done of the best quality for everyone involved, including yourselves, and very much looking for the pathways for people when they come in. So active referral in, and then finding pathways for people to move on to better places. So it's good pathways to better places, really, with all that wraparound support. So that is, we'll keep you posted as to that, how that unfolds. But that's the first part of a three. We're calling it a three-pronged approach. So prong one is that. Prong two of the three-prong approach is the food security collective, which is around the bulk buying and redistribution piece, which is what Mark spoke to you about quite fully last week, and you engaged last week, like a fortnight ago, which you engaged with. And there is a lot of work going on around that, and quite a lot of progress is being made, and that will be being developed again very shortly. So again, we'll keep you posted on a sort of monthly. Did I say a fortnight? Yes, I am. Sorry, I mean a month ago, didn't I? It feels like a fortnight, but it was a month. Sorry. Just to throw away any confusion on that. And then secondly, that's the second part. The third prong has come about really quite rapidly, but I think will be a very interesting, and actually fills the whole offer out really well, which is a piece called, the working title of which is Co-operative Connections, which boils down to just connections, to use one word for it. And that's really a mix of initiatives around food and cost of living issues, and it builds on the work that Kelly Fritcher's been doing around the social supermarkets. Well, it's not just Kelly, because there was some great work going on around affordable food clubs before Kelly arrived, which has been great, but Kelly has obviously accelerated that with the affordable food clubs and social supermarkets and the cooperative buying. So what we're looking at doing on that one is to set up, over the course of the next 18 months or so, 4 major social supermarkets strategically placed around the most disadvantaged areas of Plymouth. And those areas include Whitley, where obviously there's quite a lot of work going on already, as we know, with 4 Greens. In the Barton area, because that has particular needs, in Stonehouse, and then somewhere in the Lips and Efford area. So you can see that crescent in the most disadvantaged areas of Plymouth. So there'll be 4 of those, funding permitting, and then with 8, there will be what is effectively a community shop, which will go around to do a mobile shop. This is basically a vehicle kitted out as a mobile shop, which will go around to provide affordable food club support in 8 locations, which fill in the gaps rather on the crescent I've just described to you, and go a little bit further out to some other areas of disadvantage, or where there are pockets of disadvantage. And that will be pop-up affordable food clubs And I think that's going to be really interesting to do that. But we're looking to build the wraparound support offer into that as well. It's not just the food, it is the wraparound support and everything else that goes with the alliance as well. Probably more so at the social supermarkets in terms of a full-on offer, and probably more in the way of signposting out of the affordable food clubs. But we'll do the best we can in terms of making that the best possible offer around that. And with that, we'll go a small-scale manufacturing operation. So rather like we were talking with Richard offline earlier around basically making sure that if there's some surplus left over, needs using it, could go to a community cafe or something like that while it's still fresh and wholesome and good. Then, in the same vein, when there are things that will not last much longer, they can be turned into the jars and sauces and possibly soups and things like that, which I think will address a lot of the issues we've had presented from PFAN members who have been going out shopping in supermarkets for pasta sauces and various other things to top up that when they can't get that from the fair share offer, for example. So again, I think that's a really exciting offer. There's a big bid has been submitted, and we've just had a bunch of questions back which we're engaging on responding to. And the we on that is Rachel Silcock from Plymouth City Council Public Health and Commissioning, Mark Rolls of Four Greens Community Trust, and myself. Again, we've got to sort those clarifications have been flashing across my screen while I've been talking to you. There's a big effort to put those clarifications in, and we'll keep you posted as to where that goes. But that is the third prong of that three-pronged approach. But I'm really excited about it because I think that the social supermarkets, affordable food clubs will create, it's a really good positioning with lots of dignity, giving people agency. It's got so much to commend it. And Kelly's done some brilliant foundational work on that. So, and taking that forward. So there we are. That is, I hope that's a fairly comprehensive package. And with that, I'm also aware that there will be other implications to that for some other people in the network and some organizations. So I think the clever thing there is to try and find, transitional routes for people that maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, that maybe have got used to certain ways of doing things. This is going to be quite different. So Tammy, myself, and others are very keen to support transitions out of that, to keep community settings doing all the great stuff that they do, and keep as many food links as possible in that. So have I missed anything there, Tammy? And are there any questions from anyone that's heard that?
I don't think you've missed anything now.
I'm not so much a question. I just say, Ian, it sounds a very exciting development. Actually integrating a range of different functions to give people agency, dignity, different ways in. I think it will be important to pick up what you said, transitional routes for ongoing enterprises, to make sure people don't feel somehow swamped by a new thing from above, but are integrated. The small operators are integrated into it, and perhaps bring in new ideas and new thoughts and so on as well. But it sounds a very positive way forward, I think, for your side of the river. We'll keep doing our little bit on our side.
It's great. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting because if we can, it's all funding dependent. I must say that this bid is quite a significant bid that I've just been talking about. There's a significant funding ask around doing the collective as well, because that's a major investment. The alliance is slightly, I won't say easier to do, but it's got quite a lot of moving parts in it. But there's quite a lot of it's almost reconfiguring some existing offers which are on and already funded. It's trying to pull all that together. So this is all funding dependent, and we might have to we might, if we don't get everything that is needed, we might have to then end up with a partial model with a aspiration to fill in wherever the gap is. But I think we've probably got the will to go about doing that. It would just be so much neater and better for everyone if it all came off at the same time. It'd be a heck of a lot of work, though. We're used to that. So good. Well, I'm glad you like the sound of it from, being where you are on, with very close to the front line. I think that's good. I mean, there seems a lot of, I think it's almost this thing about running around supermarkets trying to buy things to prop up gaps. I think that's important, and I think the education piece as well. There is an education piece built into the collective, which Tammy touched on earlier when we were speaking unofficially, of not recorded, of making sure you give people the opportunity to make the best of what's available, which isn't always the ideal mix, as we all know, but they can still have really good food out of that, and actually very tasty and enjoyable food and nutritious. So I think that education piece and breaking old patterns, and we, many of us are creatures of habit, aren't we? It takes shifting habits can be hard, but I think there's a whole set of advantages around that. So, but what I would say is, for anyone that is thinking about or has started this funding that Tammy was referring to through the National Lottery, and I think the deadline on that is the 16th, isn't it? Which is ever so close now. But please do, if you're doing something and you want money for it, go to the lottery and try and get it, to get you through the winter. And again, we will support in any way we can. It's limited time now. We've said we'd support earlier, but if any advice, guidance, anything like that, just quickly let us know. And then but please bid. I'm led to believe by the lottery about, what's that, best, I'm trying to think when that was now, probably best part of a week ago now, that Plymouth was quite light on its bids, which is a bit surprising. Now, it might have changed since that time, but it would be good if Plymouth was well represented in that, because it would show amongst other things, it would show the lottery all the good stuff that's going on. I think they're aware of that generally locally. I'm not sure they are nationally, so it'd be quite useful to get that in to build the national picture as well. Yeah. So that's me really on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. That's really helpful. Well, what I'll do is we'll say goodbye to those that are watching online, and just remind you that the next meeting for November is going to be on the 16th, so Thursday the 16th at 10 o'clock, and we've got the dates for those in the email that will be following and coming out after this. So thank you for joining us.